What's up, guys? This is Rise, and welcome to another video where I'm going to be taking you through how to use a strong meta Ultra League team and climb ELO ranks. And it's not anything out of the ordinary. We've got Giratina Altered Form, Cresselia, and Escavalier, three relatively meta picks that are all very strong and have their own roles. And I did not come up with this team by myself. I actually saw our friend, the world champion of Pokemon Go, use this team, and he goes by the name of Dancing Rob, and he tweeted about this team, said he was having some success with it, used it to cross 2700, and I did the same. I also crossed 2700 with it. So shout out to Dancing Rob. By the way, he's starting to stream on Twitch soon, I believe, so I will leave a link to his Twitch channel in the description. A nice guy, and obviously one of the best battlers in the world. So without further ado, let's get into the gameplay. And yeah, so Altered Giratina, Cresselia, and Escav. So the back line of this team is quite weak to Ghost types and Talonflame. So that's kind of why you want to lead the Giratina. And I think Shadow Claw over Dragon Breath is the way to go for this specific team comp, just to help secure some of those Ghost type matchups. And that's also why I have Shadow Sneak, to have access to that Ghost coverage. Our opponent swaps in a Galarian Stunfisk, and I shield the Earthquake here, what I suspect to be an Earthquake, and I'm going to go for Charge Move priority on the next one. So I throw on the second Earthquake here. Our opponent commits a Protect Shield, and we are going to respect an Earthquake as well, would do quite a bit of damage. And you're going to see me actually make quite a horrendous mistake here. I was keeping track, or at least I thought I was keeping track accurately. I thought this was one short of an Earthquake, but look, it's another Earthquake. And I lost all that energy on my Escavalier, so a very brutal and costly mistake for me. In comes the Scrafty, and we start things off on a rough note. This was actually the first battle of the stream, and we make the joke. It's our warm-up battle. It's our warm-up battle, since we made a very costly mistake, and then our opponent makes a gutsy call here. I throw the Moonblast, and they actually let it go. I thought that would be a guaranteed shield, because he simply can just shield that and win the game. But if I had gone for the Future Sight, maybe I still would have had a chance. So a tough battle to start things off, but we try and put it behind us, and we try and move on to the next one. And also, the reason I'm running Future Sight on my Cresselia over Grass Knot is because I think it's more beneficial for potential Talonflame. So if I swap my Cresselia and then I lure out a potential Talonflame, I can actually fight back with that Future Sight, versus if I'm running Moonblast Grass Knot, it's pretty dominant for Talonflame. So that's the reason for Future Sight. But that said, I think Grass Knot is still definitely viable if you want to run Grass Knot Moonblast, because it does help you against Swampert, and it's just a quicker move in general to get to. So we nickname our Jelly the Jellymeister, thanks to a channel point redemption, and then we are into our next battle here. So I ended up seeing quite a few, Alola Ninetales leads, and at first I was throwing Moonblast here, but after this first matchup, I learned that this Moonblast does like considerably less than half. So like even 2 Moonblasts isn't lethal. So I end up later on, you'll see, starting to throw Future Sights instead. Our opponent does shield the Future Sight, which is interesting. I know I can live a Weather Ball, but I probably can't get to a move after it, which is unfortunate. So we're going to wait out our timer here. We're up a shield. We're going to go for a big counter down here. Big counter down, and we're just hoping that they don't have like a hard answer to Escav. The fact that he let me farm him down all the way told me maybe he does have a hard answer to Escav, but he comes in with a Nidoqueen. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll take it. So we're going to over farm here just a little bit. Throw, as they would have gotten off a Poison Fang. I know this is very likely going to be a bait here. However, okay, I actually do call the bait. Throw my Drill Run. This will take out the Nidoqueen, and then we're going to be 2 shields up against something in the back. I figure it must be a Steel counter, and it is. It's a Scrafty. So normally this is a pretty good matchup for Scrafty. However, we're up 2 shields to 0, so our Giratina should be able to win this. We're just going to go straight Dragon Claws here. And once again, this is a scenario where I feel like it's very likely that Scrafty's going to bait Power Up Punch. So I do call the Power Up Punch since he's down 0 to 2 shields. Like, his only win con is probably me shielding some Power Up Punches, and then him landing boosted foul plays. But, yeah, we're willing to just take another one. Because even if he foul plays us there, right, he can't counter us down. We're tanky enough, and we have that ghost typing where there's no way he's going to be able to counter us down. So we just call a couple of baits, and we get the win. There we go. Always nice when you can get a win from a tough lead. It feels good, but it's also the opposite when you have a really good lead and you can't close it out. It's like the opposite feeling. As we search for our next opponent. By the way, it's a longer video, so feel free to pause, sit back, grab a snack. Shiny Nidoqueen lead. So this is a really good lead for us because all 3 of our Pokemon have play here. So he swaps into Goon. We're able to answer with our Escav. Pretty dominant matchup here for Escav. Because it's Ultra League and our counters are non-stab, Goon can tank this damage a little bit better, so it actually can put up a little bit of a fight here. Considering that there was a Nidoqueen, I do decide to shield this Night Slash because I figure having a little bit more health on my Escav will be annoying for the Nidoqueen to take us out. And I'm like, is there any way Nidoqueen comes back in here? It does. That's amazing for us. I do 4 counters and then throw my Drill Run. And they just let it go. And then they let me get off another Drill Run. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So it's basically going to be a 2v1 in the back. And it's a Scrafty. So Scrafty does pretty well against both of our Pokemon here. But we should be fine. We know how tanky Cresselia is. It can tank foul plays, no problem. And then we're just going to get off our Moonblast. So we can actually tank 2 foul plays. So no reason to shield. We land the Moonblast. I guess our opponent was just sticking around saying maybe he doesn't have Moonblast. And once he saw that we did, he calls it a day. Next battle. Here we go. Or not. We air out. Let me know how you guys are enjoying the Ultra League and or the Weather Cup. Which one do you like more? What team are you running? Samurott. Shiny Samurott. So the typical moveset for Samurott is Fury Cutter, Hydro Cannon, and Mega Horn. However, Samurott does have access to Blizzard. And when I was in this matchup, I was talking to my viewers on stream, like, I can't shield it. Like, there's no way. I'm going to feel so bad if I shield a Hydro Cannon. But I shielded it as a Blizzard. So we make the correct call. Our opponent's kind of probably like, are you kidding me? But we shield the Blizzard, so that was really good. We're going to get off our next Claw. Our opponent makes a terrific catch onto their Greedent. Very nice catch. So that way they save some of that energy on the Samurott. We come in here with our Escav. Escav is going to double resist grass type damage, so these Bullet Seeds are doing virtually nothing to us. They do get the Crunch debuff, which is unfortunate. I am going to go for my Mega Horn here, so that way I ensure I either take it out or I get a shield, because Drill Run probably wouldn't quite KO if they don't shield that. We take out the Greedent. What is going to come in? It's the Samurott. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe Escav is going to be useful here in the back, so I decide to shield, and it is a Mandiba, so this is a little bit scary. This would have been a great situation to bait, because I feel like our opponent almost has to shield at this point, but I decided to play it safe. And then I swap in my Giratina, and obviously you might be like, whoa, Rise, why would you swap in your Giratina into a Mandibuzz? Well, I'm essentially just using it to soak some damage here. Our Giratina has already done its job. It's really got nowhere to go at this point. So we're essentially just using it to chip away and take some damage. Maybe we can get off enough Dragon Claws here to get this into like Moonblast range. I don't think we're going to reach a third Dragon Claw, it appears. But we get off a second one here. We get Mandibuzz below half health. I'm going to wait out my switch timer here. My Escav isn't quite in foul play range, so I'm going to come in with Escav, do some counter damage, and now we're really getting it close to Moonblast range. I tank the foul play. I swap Cress, and we get actually really lucky here. Our opponent tried to go back to back because he must have thought we were at a move, and he threw the Aerial Ace, which is very fortunate for us because that's going to do very little. He makes another terrific catch onto the Samurott. I must have thrown at a poor time there to allow that catch. But because of Cresselia's crazy bulk, should be able to tank at least 2 foul plays here, but this is starting to get a little bit worrisome. Another foul play. The next one will be lethal. You see the timer come up. The timer comes up. So now what I'm thinking is I just got to get in here and make sure I have 2 Pokemon and we actually win by timeout because we had 2 Pokemon compared to his 1 Mandibuzz that was still there. So a nice 4-1 in that set, and whenever you've got 2 bulky Pokemon like Cress and Giratina, and you go up against a fairly bulky team that had Greedent and Mandibuzz, these games sometimes do go to timeout, which adds like a whole nother dimension to Ultra League. Okay, so Registeel, it's not like a super dominant matchup for Giratina, which just shows how strong Reggie is, because Reggie's only hitting us with resisted damage, and we can hit it back with neutral damage. However, Shadow Sneak just isn't a great move, so they're not going to do very much to Reggie, and Reggie has the ability to potentially debuff us. And while I was in this matchup, right, and whenever you're using a team that's double weak to something in the back, you have to be cognizant of the fact, well, if they have what I'm double weak to in back, maybe it's best for me to switch out of here eventually. So you see me staying in for a while here, I'm going to take one more move here. Oh, actually, no, I should throw my Sneak. I throw my Sneak, and then I swap Cress, because I want to preserve some health on my Giratina for a potential Talonflame. Unfortunately, I get debuffed by the Zap Cannons. That's not great. I could Moonblast here to take it out before the Zap, but I'm like, at this point, I think this energy might be useful. So I decided to just keep on farming down. Only got debuffed once. I'm at 100 energy, so that's why I throw my Future Sight right away with improper timing. I throw the Future Sight, does a nice chunk, and this is where Future Sight is pretty useful as opposed to having Grass Knot Moonblast. I actually force a shield from Talon. And then they swap Cress, and that's actually amazing for us because now we get to bank a Future Sight for later, and we get our Escav here locked in against Cresselia, and we're up a shield. So I think we're in a pretty good spot here. Even though our Giratina is low, it's not really in like Incinerate down range because those Incinerates are resisted. Really no reason for me to shield here. We know our Escav can't really do anything to Talon anyway. So we're just trying to take out the Cresselia here. That's all we're doing. Talon will incinerate us down. He knows I have a move on my Cress. So what I decide to do here is actually come in with my Cress. It didn't give me an opportunity to throw the move, which is pretty annoying. But we just let it go. And now we have Gira up a shield against Talon. So we simply just shield the flame charges here and make sure the timer moves correctly if possible as the Talonflame starts to approach Dragon Claw range. Dragon Claw gets the shield. Uh-oh, timer! Oh no! He's healthier than us. Come on, Gira. Get off the move! And look at this! As the clock hits 0. As the clock hits 0, we get off the Dragon Claw somehow. And we escape with the victory. Unbelievable. Yeah, the clock showed 0. I think I think maybe it was like it had just like literally just hit 0, so it was like so even though it says 0, it's like a decimal point, right? It's like 0.9876. I think that's how we got it off. I could be wrong. Maybe we just got lucky from a glitch, but I think that's how it works. Oh my god, I shield a bubble beam here. Unbelievable. I did not think my opponent would dare to bait in this situation, so feels really bad to shield that. I know he's not going to double bait me. I'd be a complete psycho. Get off my Shadow Sneak here. Shadow Sneak chunks. He swaps into Swampert, and this is so annoying because, like, I don't have Grasp Knot, so it's like I have to almost chip this and then go and Cress. But now this Swampert has 2 shields and an energy lead, so like our Cress is not going to do very well here because it just is going to get 3-shotted by this Swampert. So our opponent really just outplaying us this game. I do lag a little bit there, and I think the Swampert got several free mud shots, which doesn't help, but we were in a bad situation anyway. Swampert gonna overfarm here, throw another move at us. And now we're debating, like, how the heck do I get out of this situation? I come in with Gira, I throw a Dragon Claw, just trying to chip away at this Swampert, but the problem is the Jelly, although it's low, it's not really in like counter down range. Earthquake knocks out our Gira. In comes Nido, which is kind of weird. And yeah, he didn't even build up to the Earth Power, so there was no reason for me to shield. And then he actually lets it go. There was another Fang, and I don't know. I guess he just didn't want to give me, like, a head start against the Jelly or something. Like, potentially get to 2 drill runs here. So forces me to throw some energy against Nido to take it out. And then we're trying to get to 2 drill runs here if possible. And it comes down to one turn. Believe it or not, I think the Jellicent actually does live 1 counter from that range. So I don't think I would have been able to counter down there if I had committed to the counter. The main moment of that previous battle that went wrong for me was shielding the Bubble Beam in the lead. If I don't shield the Bubble Beam in the lead, I think I probably win that game. That was the critical moment of the battle right from the beginning. Giratina lead, a bit of a core breaker for us when it has Dragon Breath. So I'm just going to play this out with Gira. Gira's so bulky that it does all right here. It does all right. It's not great by any means, but it can hold its own. We throw in charge move priority here. I'm going to respect a crunch. Get off my claw. See what our opponent decides to do. Is he going to let this go, or is he going to shield? He's going to let it go. And I figure I can get to this 3rd claw before the 2nd crunch. So now will our opponent decide to shield or not? He will not, so we actually take switch by going down a shield. In comes Lapras, so I swap in Crest because I don't want to give a huge farm down there. And then we lure out the Giratina with our Crest, which is absolutely perfect. Because now our Escav is going to avoid this Giratina. And we hope that our Escav can close this out. Lined up against the Lapras. I don't think it's worth committing a shield here. I'm hoping I can land a Moonblast. That would be ideal. At the moment, it looks like I might get Shadow Clawed down, which would be really bad. Or not. I think I actually get there. So yeah, Giratina's forced to shield. Or throw its move, rather. I decide to come in here. I know he's going to try and catch, so I anticipate it. And then I swap in my Escav here. And this is a little tricky, right? Because we know 2 Surfs will nearly take us out. But I feel like I have to save a shield for my Giratina. So I'm going to overfarm here as much as possible. I know the Mega Horn will KO here. And I want to get off a drill run. And now I just have to hope I can get to 2 Dragon Claws before he gets to 2 Dragon Claws. I've kind of lost track of his energy at this point. But we go up to double. It's a charge move priority, which tells me he's probably also at the double. But we have a 15 attack. We have a 15 attack Giratina altered. And our poor IVs are coming in handy. Oh my goodness gracious. And we win charge move priority again. And the 15 attack pays off in this situation to take out the opposing Giratina. Let's go. And it's on to the next one. Goda. Like the great Godon Hada. Good lead. Well, what am I talking about? Horrible core breaker lead. I saw the Berserker and I was like thinking about it from the Berserker's perspective for a moment. That was kind of weird. But yeah, bad lead for Giratina. But Cresselia does even worse, so we kind of have to stay in here. Berserker definitely a core breaker. It feels bad to shield this, but I'm like, I guess I'll shield because at least I might get a shield back. I go for the Shadow Sneak here. He shields in return. Really would have been nice to save this move, but I kind of panicked because I didn't want to get sniped before I got my move off. So a very poor decision there from me, in my opinion. Should have been able to react quicker there and save the Shadow Sneak for later and come in with Escav. I overfarmed to 2 drill runs here. Hoping this is enough to take out the Nido. It is. What's going to come in? It's Tapu Fini. So I blind drill run, and I'm fortunate that it wasn't like a flyer or something that would have resisted it. It doesn't look like I'm going to get to another drill run. That would have been really nice. So this is a little bit awkward. I've got a Cresselia against a Tapu with some energy and a Berserker. I do manage to catch onto my Giratina to keep myself afloat. And here is a situation you will see where having Grass Knot would have been super helpful. Having Grass Knot would have been super helpful. I shield the Foul Play because I figure that will do more than anything that Tapu can throw at us. Yeah, this will definitely hurt. We have to commit to a farm down here. And yeah, if I had Grass Knot, maybe this is still possible. But I don't think we would have reached 2 Moonblasts anyway. So yeah, I think having Grass Knot was probably the only way we win that game in the end game. Or if I had banked that Shadow Sneak from earlier and not wasted it, excuse me, against the Nidoqueen. Rock Haven. Let's rock. Caesar, another core breaker. So this team is a bit weak to steel types in the lead, depending on the steel type. Like Escavalier would be fine, right? But Caesar is kind of tough. Because look at these Night Slashes, man. They do a lot. In comes Gira, which is so awkward, right? Because, like, we don't have an obvious answer. And this feels so bad because I'm like, I'm taking all that Dragon Breath damage, but I wanted to try and get into Moonblast range, but I also don't want to, like, allow him to get off a Dragon Claw against my own Giratina. So Giratina's swap is quite awkward for this team, I have to say. Maybe the better play for me is to simply just immediately go into Cress rather than try and chip first. That's probably the better play. Just immediately go Cress. And then I realized I actually can't farm down here before he would have got to a Dragon Claw. So I'm forced to throw my Moonblast. I expect Caesar to come back. I save a move and I combo. Nice little cheeky play here. Get off the Shadow Sneak. In comes Obstagoon. And although this is a bad matchup for our Gira, this is pretty good overall because this is a pretty dominant matchup, as we know, for Escav. He throws on charge move priority. Very smart. Takes us out. I'm going to come in right away. I'm just hoping he doesn't get a boost. He threw instantly, expecting that we might try and, like, Moonblast him. And this was so awkward, right? It's like, do I commit to a counter down or do I throw my move? Unfortunately, it looks like our opponent lagged. I was just spamming, trying to get off my drill run. And it looks like our opponent lagged and missed a couple of counters there. He swaps out. And then he top left. So, unfortunate. I think we had it, right? I think we still had it, even if our opponent didn't miss a few counters there. But who knows? Maybe he could have pulled off something. So, unfortunate for both sides when that happens, right? Because maybe our opponent feels like he could have pulled off a win con, and I feel like, oh man, like I think I had it, but now it's like it's in doubt because he lagged. And check this out. Hundo Phantom. Let's go. From the reward. Hundo Phantom. If the battles haven't been good enough for a like on your part, how about a like for the Hundo Phantom on the video? Smash that thumbs up button. 2,691 after a 3-2 set there. And I believe we have one more set for your viewing pleasure. Coming up next time. Just kidding. It's coming up right now. Once Rise decides to go into the Go Battle League. And here we go. Gira versus Gira. Both of us running Shadow Claw. And with our 15 attack Gira, we know we're going to almost always win CMP. I can tank the first one, no problem. He makes a terrific catch onto Sylveon. Very nicely done. Oh, and he shields, which really catches me off guard. I'm like, what the heck? I'll take it. I don't know why. The only thing I can think of is he misclicked. So we throw the drill run. And we get off another drill run here before Sylveon can even get off a charge move. So this is really good for us. And we just hope there's not some like crazy core breaker in the back. That's going to be Giratina and Cresselia. He shadow sneaks, we live, we get off the drill run. This is all going really well. We land the drill run. I do lag once again, which has been really brutal lately. Just lagging a lot whenever I come in with a new Pokemon. And there's another Charmer. And this is a little bit scary. It's a little bit scary. I'm going for Future Sight here. Because I wasn't sure if I could get off 3 Moonblasts. So I figure I might as well go for 2 Future Sights. I go for another Future Sight here. I'm really hoping this KOs. Because I just let a Charm sneak in. It does KO, so that's good for me. This will force the Giratina to throw. No, it doesn't. It gets the farm down. And do we live a Dragon Claw here? It all comes down to this. 15 attack. Giratina lives the Dragon Claw. And the Shadow Claw that snuck through is enough. So a very epic battle. Wow. I think both of us did not play that game very to the best of our abilities, but we came out on top. So here's a cool new Pokemon. Not new per se, but with Double Kick now, it's a lot more PvP viable. Typically runs Double Kick, Sacred Sword, and Stone Edge. He swaps into a Politoed, and I was like, I wonder if with his lead, like he's kind of weak to fire, like maybe it's double water, maybe Cresselia will be better based off whatever's in back. So that's why I decided to come in Escav here. A bit questionable. Maybe Cresselia would have been the smarter play, but we'll see what ends up happening. I go for the Mega Horn here on charge move priority to, once again, either guarantee I knock it out or I get a shield. We don't want him calling a drill run. And look at this. Yikes. It is a Trevenant, and this is not good. Trevenant is a very big weakness for our team. Very big weakness for our team. Of course, we have to come in with Gira. I lag again. So I miss a Shadow Claw there, which every Shadow Claw really matters here, man. Every Shadow Claw really matters here. I'm over farming because I'm expecting the catch, and our opponent just doesn't. Oh, man. I'm getting stressed out, man. Just remembering this game. Literally everything that could have gone wrong in terms of decision making went wrong from my side. Just a very poor end game from me. Just overthinking. And I think everybody has things they can improve on as a battler in this game. And for a lot of people, I undercharged the Moonblast there to try and come out with energy. For a lot of people, it might be like timing your moves correctly, or it might be knowing your matchups, or when to bait, when not to bait, being quicker to react to swaps. For me, I think the biggest thing I need to work on is simply like overthinking in these types of situations. Like I had so much energy on my Giratina. I had so many opportunities to throw my claw, but I was so worried. About him. I was so worried about him catching that I did like 10 Shadow Claws and then eventually he caught on like the 10th Shadow Claw. So for me, I think that's the biggest thing I still need to improve and work on is I overthink it. And instead of just making the quick, obvious play, I wait too long. And in that situation, what I think should have been a pretty easy win turned into a very frustrating loss where I somehow found the lose con. Next opponent, Harjeff. I've been calling him Rarjeff, but he's Brazilian, and I believe in Portuguese, the R is more like an H sound, like Rafael dos Anjos. So I'm going to go with Harjeff, and he recently won the Brazilian Regional Championship, so he is going to Japan next year to compete in the World Championship. Just an absolutely incredible battler. We're in a pretty good spot here. It was a neutral lead matchup. He comes in with Wall Rain. He baits us with Icicle Spear. I go for the Mega Horn here. Drill Run might have been enough from this range. Drill Run might have been enough, but I didn't want to risk it. I know if he baits me again, he shouldn't be able to get to another Earthquake. So I know this is just an Icicle Spear. But it's smart by him, right? Rather than throw the Earthquake and then not get to another move, he's able to get off another Spear, which does some nice chip damage. The fact that he comes in with Cresselia here tells me he might be weak to our Escav in the back. So I actually decide to give up switch advantage here and come in with my own Cresselia. Knowing that we're not super threatened here, we've already done some nice chip damage. You could argue I should have Moonblasted first here as a bit of a mistake because Moonblast does have a chance to debuff your attack. So if I had gotten debuffed before I got off my move, that would have been a little bit frustrating. However, the opposite mode of thinking is I do want energy to threaten whatever is in the back. So that's kind of why I am not electing to throw right away. I go over 100 energy, man. Just really sloppy on my part. I snipe here with my Giratina. This is a little bit sketchy, right? Because both of our back Pokemon are approaching like foul play range. However, I do think I have this in the bag because our Escavalier has residual energy. So Scrafty will have to expend a foul play here to take out our Gira. Our Cresselia has a Moonblast, so it's going to have to expend energy right away to take out Cresselia. Cresselia was one short. So now the Scrafty only has 10 energy because it went up to 100. It threw 2 foul plays, and we should be able to get here before he gets to another foul play, and the counters are actually enough by themselves. So GG's. Tough team comp for Harjeff. I don't know if there's realistically much he could have done against our team. I think he played that pretty well. Tough team comp for him. Cresselia, Shadow Wall Rain, Scrafty. Gira into A9, tough lead for us. We safe swap our Cress, and like we talked about earlier, we recognized that Future Sight, okay, but I guess I'm going for Moonblast anyway. Disregard, what apparently I learned earlier. I was surprised we never got, like, Dazzling Gleam tier by an A9. Now I go for the Future Sight. Are they going to shield? They are not. So imagine if I had just gone for double Future Sight. I probably would have either gotten a shield or a or one switch. So a bit unfortunate. I actually decided to Shadow Claw down with my Gira to not reveal yet what I have in the back. In comes Scrafty, and we're met by Anito. I'm like, okay, this could still be possible. This could still be possible. Drill Run, we get a shield. And then it's the bait game, and I actually called this one because with 2 shields up, man, I just felt like it was so likely a bait. I just had to call it. We land the Drill Run, that's huge. And I'm like, you know what? This is just a feeling, man. It's just a feeling. I've got a feeling that Escavalier is going to win this game. That this move is a Poison Fang. He gets off another. I wasn't sure if I could live this after I'd been debuffed 3 times now, so I do decide to shield. I save my move. Come in with Gira, and now all I need to do at this point is force a shield off the Scrafty. But that's a little bit easier said than done, right? Because 2 foul plays is pretty much lethal at this point. So this is not over. I also figured by switching out, that my Escav would clear its debuff. And that way I could get maybe an extra counter or 2, if need be. Dragon Claw. We get off another, and this should seal the deal for us since we have a move banked with our Escavalier. Our opponent commits the final shield. They have to throw a move here. And we have a move banked with our Escav. We throw the Drill Run. Could have Mega Horned for the flex, but you guys saw in my recent short. If you didn't check out my recent short, I paid the price for trying to flex in a game. We literally had a game in the bag, and I let my opponent farm me down so I could throw a move at him with my back Pokemon. And then we lagged, and then we lost. I paid the price. I paid the karma for trying to showboat. As the recent Baltimore Regional Champion, House Stark, said, my flex is winning, not showboating. Giratina versus Amok. So a tough lead. We are going to swap into Cresselia here. We're met by a Gira, so this is not bad, right? I could potentially take back switch here or get a shield advantage. So this is not the best counter swap to our Cresselia. As you see, 2 Moonblasts will nearly KO a Giratina. I lose charge move priority here, but I know I can take a Shadow Sneak, so I don't really want to commit a shield here. Another Moonblast coming through. I do grab a shield, and attack fell. So that is massive. Now I know I can live a Shadow Sneak here. And then it's a charge move priority. And here I actually decide to shield, which I know kind of feels bad since I'm so low. But if I can either get the second shield or win switch advantage, I feel like that's really good for me. So the Muck will get a nice little farm down, but now we have switch advantage. So we have Escav on Muck, which is a very positive matchup for Escav. Dark Pulse will chunk us to about half health. In comes Scrafty. So I decide to throw my Drill Run since this will do more than anything Giratina can throw, and we'll probably grab the shield. And then I swap into Giratina. And the plan here is simply commit no shields to our Giratina and save the final shield for the Escav, and hopefully Escav can close after the Scrafty has been chipped. So that's kind of the bold plan here. Can Escav deliver the goods? A couple of legendary Pokemon with the Escavalier closer. Does our non-legendary have what it takes to be great? Like that famous Ray Lewis speech, Madden 13. Anyway, can we get off the claw? No, our opponent makes a nice combo play to snipe us. And here's the issue is I know this is likely an acid spray, but even if I don't shield, right? Like if I don't shield it, I think I just get fast moved down. And then the Scrafty had a little bit too much health. So, was that winnable in the end there? Could I have drill runned earlier and then potentially countered down the Scrafty? Let's see. Maybe. So in my head, I was thinking the only way I win at this point is by doubling up. But I don't quite get to the double up, as you see. So maybe if I had thrown here like right away, maybe I could have gotten multiple counters off against Scrafty. But in my head, once the acid spray had hit, I thought that the counters would take me out before my counters since I was so low. Because I think like 2 counters KOs me after that acid spray. So even if I had drill runned right away, I think we still lose. Because after this, we'll see how much health the Scrafty had. And Scrafty definitely lives one more counter. So I'm pretty sure I couldn't have won that game in the end game there. That was just very well played by the opponent. And we end on a 3-2 set. So 10-5 with the world champion Dancing Rob's Ultra League team. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you are new, comment down below. All comments are appreciated. That's right, all of them. All that said, thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.